We haven't done a Q&A in this channel in a while, and I figured it was about time we make one, because what I've realized talking to you guys one-on-one is that a lot of the struggles that you're facing in your wardrobes are actually fairly common. So I figured if I can answer one of you guys' questions at a time, it was likely going to be helpful for a lot more people. And if you're joining us for the first time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's almost 10,000 of us now, which is just crazy to me, and I hope that we can get there before the end of the year. So let's go ahead and answer a few questions. Okay, this first question is from Nadine. Hey Nadine. It says, do you actually go through a season with 15 pieces or do you supplement with basics? And the answer is no. I do not only have and dress from 15 pieces per season, but I do put together a 15-piece capsule every season because that is a number that to me feels very manageable and allows me to see that I actually have enough clothing to make it through a season, or whether I need to buy something new or not at the beginning of the season. What I do have in my wardrobe is another capsule of basics, of just that. It's just plain pieces that for the most part stay in my wardrobe year round, that I can use to pull into my capsules when necessary, or that I can just have as extra pieces so that I don't have to do laundry every 5 days and like I'm constantly repeating outfits. Those basics very often will come into my seasonal capsules. In fact, this fall, there's a ton of basics of my standard basic items that I keep in my wardrobe in my fall capsule, because fall is a season where I do tend to wear a lot more long sleeve t-shirts, jeans, those kinds of things. But for the most part, that collection stays very minimal. I don't shop for anything new for that collection unless I specifically need it for the seasonal capsule. And what I do want to say is that this is a system that really works for me, but the key to building a wardrobe that you love is finding a system that works for you, whether that is putting together a 30 or 45 piece capsule every season or every year, or having a separate capsule of basics. The important thing is that you figure out what is going to work for you and then implement that into your wardrobe. This next question says, any tailoring hacks for when you haven't gotten a piece tailored or just want a temporary change? And this is a little bit of a difficult question for me to answer because it would greatly depend on the garment that you're looking to alter. For the most part, if I recommend that you get something tailored, it's mostly about the way that it fits your body and not about changing the integrity of the garment. That is something that can be done. For example, some people go out and shop for a dress and say they find the top of the dress really fits them very well and they love the color, but the skirt is not fitting them properly, so they'll just have the skirt cut off and keep it as a shirt. I don't usually do that, but I know that there are people who do. But if you want a temporary change, something like that, like a dress, I don't know how you would alter it. Like usually the way I do it is like I tuck it under a skirt or like change it that way. Now, if you're talking about a pair of pants, there is double-sided sticky tape that you can use to very quickly change the hem of a pant, or like keep the hem of a shirt perfectly tucked in and rolled up, which I will link for you in the description box below. And if you're going for a jacket, here you can do accessories, like for example, you can belt it or you can pin it at the back, maybe on the inside, to just adjust the silhouette a little bit. But it really greatly depends on what is the item that you're looking to change the silhouette of. So if this was your question, please hit my DMs and let me know what exactly you had in mind so that I can give you a better answer. And for the rest of you, I hope this was helpful. This next question is from Risha. Hey Risha. What is an easy way to know in a store how well a color goes with your complexion? And color itself is a little bit of a tricky situation because, as I've discussed in my Intro to Color Theory video, our perception of a color changes depending on the light, because light has its own color temperature, and what is around it. So frankly, the most foolproof way that I have found to know for a fact if a color is going to fit you or not is to get a color analysis done. And yes, you can try to figure out your skin tone and your undertone by yourself, but the truth is that like these kinds of things really require a professional, somebody who is trained in seeing the nuances of how color changes on you depending on the light, how it affects it's crazy, like your jawline, your under eye bags, and all those things. But once you invest in something like that, which is a very affordable expense, usually it's between like $200 and $400 for your lifetime, because your coloring doesn't change in your entire life, even if your hair color changes or anything like that, then you know the guidelines for your specific complexion, and then you know what to look for when you're actually shopping. But this is something that in my research, I've personally figured out that it is better to be done in person if you are going to do a color analysis for yourself, because again, lighting changes the perception of color, and cameras and all of these other things. So for a color analyst to be able to accurately see what you are seeing in the mirror or in person, you kind of need to be under the same light. Now, I do have a video coming in this exact topic, which it's been months in the works, and I'm very, very excited about it. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure that you're subscribed, and I'll go into far more detail about this in a future episode. This question is from Panis. If you could wear only one piece in your closet forever, what would it be? I feel like it would have to be a dress or something that I could wear on its own, which is probably a cop-out. But honestly, I think it would be my PJs. Like, I love dressing up and I love getting, dolled up to go outside. But I think the most practical thing would be to just wear like something super comfortable, very nice pajamas or very nice loungewear, but something like this that I could like dress up a little bit because it wasn't a super nice fabric, but I could also just be super comfortable no matter what I'm doing, whether it's getting on a plane or just lounging around the house or running around the city or whatever. That's what I would pick. I would pick a pair of like super comfortable loungewear set, and that's what I would wear forever, and I would dress it up and down. Speaking of loungewear, I remember you saying your loungewear is not included in the capsule. What exactly do you have as loungewear and how many pieces? Well, this is difficult for me to answer exactly because the truth is that I've never counted. I usually buy pajamas in sets, right? So I have this set of Laura silk PJs. I have another blue silk PJ set, and then I have another one in cotton, and then I have like a pair of lounge pants. I believe I have 2 pairs of lounge pants that I mix and match with different sweaters and different tank tops in my basics capsule wardrobe. So here it really depends. Like, I have enough PJs so that I can switch them often and not have to do laundry all of the time. And I also switch them seasonally because obviously as the winter comes, I need something thicker than what I'm wearing like right now. But the key thing here is that you figure out what it is that you need and how often you want to do laundry so that you can switch your PJs and your loungewear out with frequency for, just hygiene reasons. But you still have enough so that you don't have to do laundry specifically because of your loungewear. This is a personal question. It goes, what kind of jobs did you do in the film industry? If you don't know this about me, I used to work in the film industry and I actually had several different jobs. So I'll tell you the whole story. I went to school for theater. I went to school for acting essentially, and immediately right out of college, I started acting right away. I got lucky in that regard. I also had a job as an assistant to a director where I started learning really a lot about production, and at the time I was living in Los Angeles. And then when I moved to New York, I started to realize that acting wasn't really what I wanted to do, but that I still wanted to do something in the film industry. So I started working in the production basics, like in the production office it's called, and we basically do everything of operations and logistics when it comes to putting together a shoot. We do everything from securing the equipment, doing contracts with vendors and actors and making sure that those are signed and filed. And it's a lot of office work, but it requires a very deep knowledge of the film industry. Those kinds of production office jobs are union jobs once you move up the ranks. So right before I got into the union, I did for a brief period of time work as the assistant to the stunt coordinators department. So basically all of the guys and I say guys because most of them were guys, who put together all of the fight sequences and cast all of the stunt doubles. All of those people needed an enormous amount of support to just keep the department running. I worked on a show that had a lot of fight sequences and a lot of like, this person gets thrown down the stairs and this person has a fight and all these crazy things. So they needed somebody to keep track of the budget, how many performers were working at any given day, making sure that their rehearsals were scheduled and that their call times were sent, and that somebody was coordinating with the costume department to make sure that they were wearing the exact outfit for whatever fight they needed to perform. That we were checking with the scenics and with the props to make sure that we had everything we needed that would protect our performers. So I did that. That is by far the most fun I've ever had working in the film industry, but it didn't pay very well, so I had to leave that job just to make ends meet, basically. And then I continued in the office for a while, and then eventually I realized that that's not what I wanted to do. And basically on my way out of the film industry, I was briefly working as an accountant. I also worked as a payroll accountant because, you have like a 300-person crew that you have to pay. So that's kind of what I did. But that was more on my way out as this channel was taking off. I just wanted to try something different, and it just coincidentally was a part of my union anyway, so it was something that I can transition to easily. This question is from Ellen. How many basics should I have in my storage wardrobe to draw from for my capsule wardrobe each season? Like, how do you know what blouses, t-shirts, pants, skirts would provide a good foundation? I firmly believe that the answer to this question really depends on your lifestyle and your taste. Here's what I would recommend. First, figure out how often you like to or want to do laundry. In my case, for example, I like to do laundry every 2 weeks, and sometimes I even go beyond that because I really do not like to do laundry. But within that time frame, I want to have maybe 3 or 4 options of my personal uniforms, which are the outfits formulas that I go to the most often, and then a couple of statement pieces here and there. So that for me means that I need to have like 10 to 14 pieces all together that I can cycle through. So once you start figuring out that and what works for your wardrobe, then you can start to mentally plug in the pieces to build a capsule of basics that is really going to work for you. I know that that's not super specific answer and it might not be super helpful. I do want you to know that this is part of the reason why I offer the one-on-one consultations, is because figuring this out really requires me to look at your wardrobe, your lifestyle, your taste, and that's exactly what I wanted to help you figure out. So if you are interested in working with me, I will leave you the link in the description box below. I do want to let you know you don't always have to buy the full capsule in order to, pick my brain and figure out what exactly it is that you need for your wardrobe. Some people have just been booking the 1 hour style boost and they kind of let me know what it is that they're looking for. And 1 hour, I find, is plenty of time to give you some direction in your wardrobe. So I will leave that linked for you in the description box below, and I hope to meet you soon. This question comes from Amelia, and she asks, how do you stop buying clothes for your fantasy self? And this to me is a super interesting question because it's a lot of the work that I help you go through in the consultations. So it is my belief that when you keep buying things and gravitating towards things for your fantasy self, is because there's something about your current self that isn't fulfilling that part of you that wants these other things. And the idea with your wardrobe, and what I want to help you do, is to look at your fantasy self and then look at your actual self and help you merge those two so that the part of you that really likes either high-end clothes or high heels or whatever it is can actually meet your current self, and you can create the person that you actually are and who you are meant to be. So what I would say is, don't think stop buying clothes for the fantasy self. Like, no, don't deprive yourself of being who you most want to be. Instead, figure out how you can bring in elements of this fantasy self into your everyday self, and figure out how can you can start becoming your fantasy self today. I like to look at what are those elements of your fantasy self? What does she have in her wardrobe that we can actually and practically bring into your wardrobe today? Is it nicer materials or nicer pieces? Or is it clothes that are not necessarily practical for what you wear day to day? Okay, can we find a couple of pieces that are going to be practical? And if it's a matter of confidence, like you have these things in your wardrobe that you absolutely love, but you don't feel confident enough to wear them, then I can help you with that. Like, knowing how to style something, knowing how to put an outfit together is a huge part of getting the confidence to actually wear it. So I would say, short answer, Don't stop buying things for your fantasy self. Instead, try to figure out what are those elements of your fantasy self that you can start applying today and push yourself little by little to actually allow yourself to be that person. And I promise you, your true self and your happiest self is going to emerge from that. Joan said, I cannot figure out how to love my clothes. I buy, thinking I will love and wear a piece, only to find after wearing it once that I don't like it. How to find things I will love and wear. For example, I have so many pairs of jeans and don't really love all of them. I think this is a problem with lack of clarity. I have a feeling that you haven't really taken the time to figure out why you don't love those items. Is it the fit? This just doesn't fit you right? The material? Or is it perhaps that they are difficult to combine and you don't know how to combine them? There could be a multitude of reasons. But if you don't take the time to define what it is exactly about those items that you're not loving, you are very unlikely to pick up on the fact that you're grabbing the exact same thing when you're shopping at a store. Let's wait for that to pass. So before I can even give you the assignment of how to find things that you're actually going to love, first you have to figure out why you don't love the items that you already have. Like, homework for you, Joan, literally go through every single item of your wardrobe and define with clarity what it is that you don't love about an item. And then you can start to see what you could love and what would work for you. Oftentimes it's like, I don't like the way this fits me. Okay, can it be tailored? Or is it a matter of the material? Oftentimes we have a lot of polyester in our wardrobes, or a lot of like materials that don't drape around our body very nicely, and it's a matter of trying something in different materials. But if you don't know what it is that you're gravitating towards now, then you don't know what different things are looking for. Define this piece first and then send me a DM and let me know what it is that you discovered, and then I can give you different things to try. That was a lot. I hope that was helpful and that it helps clarify some things for you. If you still have some questions, then make sure you are subscribed to my email list, because I am in the process of hosting capsule sessions bi-weekly of just like very small groups where you can actually ask me questions and we can have an actual face-to-face conversation via Zoom, albeit, where you can come ask me whatever it is that you want and I can actually help you answer these things. So make sure you're on my email list, because I don't want to publicize those, otherwise they will get insanely booked, and I want to make sure that those people who are actually interested can get first dibs. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up. Make sure that you're subscribed. And I do have a couple of very exciting videos coming soon, particularly in regards to color and color analysis. So make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss those. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern.